What's up, everybody? Jed Johnson here from dieselcrew.com. And of course, it goes without saying, everybody calls me Napalm. This is the last video in the 31 days of Q&A. I really appreciate everybody who watched the videos this month. It's been cool seeing all the questions come in and getting the opportunity to answer so many questions. In a way, I kind of saved the best for last, guys. I got this question more times than any question over the course of this month, and it's easily the most common question I get, throughout the year. And I don't usually address this, but I'm going to go ahead and do it. What the hell? Several people asked what I think about Joe Kinney. So, Joe Kinney is the person who is credited as being the first person to close and certify on the Iron Mine number 4 gripper. This is something that has been discussed over and over and over at gripboard.com. So I encourage you to go there and research. Joe Kinney put out a DVD eventually showing some of the training that he did, and also put some footage into the video of him closing the number 4 gripper. So is Joe Kinney legit? Who knows? Was he legit? Who knows? That was way back in what? I think 2000 or even in the 90s. I don't even know when it was that he closed the gripper. So it's a tough call. If Joe Kinney's a fake, then it certainly brings in others as being in on the ruse. So I'm just going to say a couple things that I feel are questionable about Joe Kinney. On the video, when he closes the 4, he basically closes it from like, not a complete no set, I guess, but like he gets it into position and closes it. He definitely doesn't do a credit card set or anything like that. When he closes it, you never see it open on video. It fades to black. So it's been questioned whether or not that was a legitimate number 4 gripper, or if it was doctored in a way that the spring was. What I've heard is that the spring, once it was closed, because it was damaged or treated in a certain way, that it wouldn't open back up. So they couldn't show that on film, or Joe couldn't show that on film. So they just faded to black. That's very suspicious. Another thing that's very suspicious to me is the fact that he said that he would not allow himself, or he would not allow a workout where he didn't surpass what he had already done in a previous workout. Guys, I don't really care what anybody says. You can only top yourself so many times when you're training anything. Professional and Olympic level athletes have bad days. There is no possible way that I believe that he was able to do, either more weight or more repetitions on his floor model grip machine or whatever it's called than the previous workout, and be able to do that every single time that he trained. There's no way. There's just no way. He talks about something like testosterone for breakfast, where he would do all these squats in the morning every day in order to generate all this testosterone, which would power his workouts. Seems a little far-fetched to me. And then one statement that he made was in one of the pictures where he closes the 4, he says that because of all of the high-intensity training that he did, that you can see how the gripper has, like, damaged the bones in his fingers, like made them curve out. I forget, like, structurally how his fingers had been changed by the gripper or something is what he says. guys, in the picture that he's referencing, that is the shape. That is what happens to the skin and the tissue on the back of your fingers just about any time you close a gripper. My hand looks the same way. I remember talking about this with a guy named Nate Browse. His hand looks the same way. And anytime that I see a still shot like that online, I basically quote that and I say, I can see that all your gripper training has structurally modified the bones in your fingers or something like that. I think it's laughable. That's not true. That doesn't happen. The gripper is not so damn hard that his fingers got changed. I mean, that's ridiculous. And one other thing that I forgot about that just seems fishy to me is the fact that when he did his second video with a guy named John Wood, he talked about, well, there was another gripper that I used that we didn't talk about in the first video. And he proceeds to talk about in the video how he used like the spring off an old garbage dumpster. And it looks like a piece of steel, and then it's curved, and then, you know, it has one of these shapes to it, almost like a long, tall A or V. And and they might be parallel, actually. I'm not sure. It's been a while since I saw one. And he said that he used to do negatives with that because it was harder than the number 4. The question there is, why in the hell was that dumpster spring gripper not in the first video? It just doesn't make any sense. Now, I'm not going to say that anybody is a fake or a liar, because I don't know that to be true. And I don't want to say that because, you know, a guilty by association thing, because Joe Kinney was questionable, then those other companies were questionable. I don't want to say that, because first off, I don't know anything like that about John Wood, and Iron Mind has supported me, my business, and my contests a great deal over the years. I just find some of the things that have been said to be extremely questionable based on my experience in grip. Now, the first 3 years when I was in grip, I didn't notice those kinds of things. But now, after being involved in grip training since 2002, definitely, I think I actually used grippers in 2001. You're looking at 16, 17 years of experience. Some of the things that the man has said are just absolutely ridiculous. There are people that are watching this video right now that can go into the comments section and they can point out other things that have been discussed ad nauseum over the years about Joe Kinney and the original number 4 cert. I'm not going to go into that right now, but those are some of the things that I find fishy. So I just caution people, when you do your research and you see what the things that Joe Kinney said he did, or the reports about Joe Kinney doing this, or the videos, etc., just because a company that sells information products receives a DVD that someone has produced and then they sell that DVD, that does not mean any of the information is true. It could all be made up. So, I mean, the companies that have sold that DVD may just not be aware, or they take his name at face value and not question it. But there's one thing I know. He talks about doing all these severe negatives. One of the severe negatives where you take and you squeeze a gripper down, you cheat it down, or maybe even against your leg to the closed position, and then you fight that thing open the whole way. So many people have gotten injured doing that kind of a drill, guys. The extreme negative. I don't want you doing them. In fact, at the beginning of this month, I showed a video on how I suggest people do negatives instead of doing the heavy negative all the way out to the open position. I show how I feel they should be done. So take that message as you will. My only care is that you get good quality information. That is why I put out the information that I do, because it's good quality based on experience, either from my training or the people that I have trained to get results. That's why I put out information, because I want people to do as well in grip or better than I have. And when there's a resource out there like that over the years I have come to question, then I don't suggest people pick it up. And that's one of the things. There's too much I question about Joe Kinney, his story, and in the fables of Joe Kinney, that I don't recommend people go down that route. So I hope this has been helpful. And if you know someone that is a Joe Kinney follower or follows the practices of Joe Kinney, I suggest you show them this video. Those are just my honest thoughts. Just too much question, guys. Too much up in the air for me. Hope it's been helpful. If you liked the video, please give it one of these. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do so. Any questions or any comments about Joe Kinney, feel free to put them in the comments section. And share away, guys. Thanks a lot. Take care.